stop everything right now, because something shocking could soon happen to one of the most common coins in America. There's growing talk that the penny could disappear from circulation, and if that happens, millions of people might suddenly start paying attention to the coins they once ignored. Face screaming in fear. For decades, pennies have been the smallest and most overlooked coins in everyday life. People drop them in jars, leave them in drawers, or spend them without even thinking. But collectors know something that most people don't. Hidden among ordinary pennies are a few extremely rare coins that could be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, imagine this. If the penny ever disappears from circulation, millions of people could start searching their old coins, piggy banks, and forgotten collections all at once. And when that happens, the demand for certain rare pennies could become even bigger. What makes this even more surprising is that some of the most valuable pennies don't look special at all. Many of them are scratched, worn down, or dark after decades of use. To most people, they look like ordinary coins, but to collectors, they can be hidden treasures hiding in plain sight. Over the years, a few rare pennies have shocked the coin-collecting world by selling for huge amounts of money at auctions. And the most incredible part— before you assume this is just another old penny, look at the date carefully. If it says 1945, and there is no mint mark under the date, you're holding a 1945 wheat penny from the Philadelphia Mint, struck during the final year of World War II. That alone makes this coin historic. The 1945 wheat penny was minted at a time when the world was changing. The war in Europe ended in May. The war in the Pacific ended in September. American industry was shifting from wartime production back to civilian life. And throughout that entire year, these small copper coins circulated across the country. On the front, you see Abraham Lincoln's portrait. Above his head, "In God We Trust." To the left, liberty. To the right, the date 1945. No mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. Flip it over and you'll see the familiar wheat stalks framing 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat-back design had been in use since 1909 and would continue until 1958. Now here's what most people don't realize. In 1945, Philadelphia struck over 1 billion wheat pennies, more than 1,040,000,000 pieces. That's an enormous mintage. So, yes, in circulated condition, the 1945 no mint mark wheat penny is common. But coin value isn't just about how many were made. It's about how many survive in high grade today. Most 1945 pennies were heavily used. America was busy. Coins moved quickly through stores, banks, and military bases. Because of that, many surviving examples today show moderate to heavy wear. Look closely at Lincoln's hair. In worn coins, the fine strands above his ear are flattened. The cheek becomes smooth. The jawline loses definition. Flip the coin over. On circulated examples, the lines inside the wheat stalks fade or disappear. But if you find a 1945 wheat penny with strong detail in Lincoln's hair, bold wheat lines, sharp rims, and visible mint luster, that's when things become interesting. Uncirculated examples are much more desirable. And then comes the most important factor for copper coins: color. Copper cents are classified as brown BN, red-brown RB, or red RD. Most 1945 wheat pennies today are brown due to decades of oxidation. Red-brown coins still retain partial original mint color, but full red coins with bright original copper surfaces are significantly more valuable in higher grades. The mint state brown coin might carry a modest premium. The mint state red coin in high grade can be worth many times more. In top certified grades with strong red color and minimal contact marks, values can climb dramatically because collectors building high-end sets compete for the finest examples available. Now, let's talk about something even more exciting: errors and varieties. While the 1945 Philadelphia issue is not known for a famous major double die like some other years, you should still examine it carefully. Look for double die characteristics in God We Trust or Liberty, die cracks, raised lines caused by cracked dies, lamination errors, metal splits or peeling, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, Even small mint errors can make a common date coin far more collectible. You should also inspect the overall strike quality. Some coins were struck more sharply than others. Strong, well-defined details increase desirability. Now, here's something extremely important. Never clean your 1945 wheat penny. Cleaning removes original surfaces and leaves hairline scratches that reduce value instantly. Even rubbing it with a cloth can damage the coin. Collectors prefer natural toning over artificial shine. If you believe you've found a high-grade or unusual example, professional grading can confirm authenticity and assign an official condition grade. That certification often increases buyer confidence and market value. Now think about the history behind this coin. The 1945 wheat penny circulated during one of the most important years in world history. It may have been in the pocket of a factory worker supporting the war effort. It may have been used to buy a newspaper announcing the end of the war. It's not just copper. It's a piece of history. Most people see a 1945 penny and assume it's common, and in most cases it is, but exceptional condition changes everything. Because while over 1 billion were made, far fewer survive today in pristine, full red, high mint state condition. And every year, more are lost, damaged, or cleaned. So here's what you should do. Check the date, 1945. Confirm there's no mint mark. Examine Lincoln's hair and cheek for sharp detail. Inspect the wheat stalks for full lines. Look at the color, brown, red-brown, or red. Search carefully for any unusual features or mint errors. And most importantly, leave the coin exactly as you found it. Because while most 1945 wheat pennies are worth only a small premium, a high-grade, full red example with strong eye appeal could be worth far more than you expect. Sometimes the most overlooked coins are the ones that reward the most careful collectors. Before you toss that old penny aside, check the date carefully. If it says 1956 and there is no mint mark under the date, you're looking at a 1956 wheat penny from the Philadelphia Mint, one of the final years of the classic wheatback design. At first glance, it may seem completely ordinary. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front. In God, we trust above his head. Liberty to the left. The date 1956 on the right. Flip it over and you'll see the 2 wheat stalks framing 1 cent and United States of America. This design had been in use since 1909 and would end just 2 years later in 1958 before switching to the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Now, here's what most people don't realize. In 1956, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 420 million wheat pennies. That's a high mintage. So, yes, in circulated condition, the 1956 no mint mark penny is common and usually worth only a small premium over face value. But in coin collecting, the story never ends with mintage numbers. It's about condition, color, and quality. Most 1956 pennies entered heavy circulation immediately. They were used daily throughout the late 1950s and 1960s. As a result, many surviving examples show wear. Look closely at Lincoln's hair. In circulated coins, the detail above his ear becomes flat. The cheek smooths out. The jawline loses definition. Now turn the coin over. On worn examples, the lines inside the wheat stalks fade or disappear. The rims may show flattening. But if you find a 1956 wheat penny with sharp detail, strong rims, and visible mint luster, that's where value begins to increase. Uncirculated examples are far more desirable. And within uncirculated coins, small differences matter. Collectors examine the sharpness of the strike, the brightness of the luster, the number of contact marks, the overall eye appeal. Now, let's talk about something extremely important for copper coins. Color. Copper cents are classified into 3 main categories. Brown BN, red-brown RB, red RD. Most 1956 pennies you'll encounter today are brown because copper naturally darkens over time. Red-brown coins still show partial original mint color, but full red coins with bright original orange-red surfaces are the most valuable in high grades. A mint state brown coin may be worth only a modest premium. A mint state red coin in higher grades can be worth significantly more. In top certified grades with strong red color and minimal marks, values can rise dramatically because collectors building high-end registry sets compete for the finest examples. Now, let's move into varieties and errors. While the 1956 Philadelphia issue is not known for a major famous double die like 1955 or 1957, that doesn't mean you shouldn't inspect it carefully. Look for minor double die characteristics in God We Trust or Liberty, die cracks, raised lines caused by cracked dies, lamination errors, splits, or peeling in the metal, off-center strikes, clipped planchets. Even small errors can increase collector interest and value. Also pay attention to strike strength. Some coins were struck more sharply than others. A sharply struck coin with full detail and bright luster is always more desirable than a weakly struck example. Now, here's something critical. Never clean your 1956 wheat penny. Cleaning removes original mint surfaces and leaves tiny scratches that collectors can easily detect. Even if a coin looks dark or dull, its natural patina is far more desirable than artificial shine. If you believe you have a high-grade example or unusual error, professional grading can confirm authenticity and assign an official grade, which directly affects market value. Now think about this. The 1956 wheat penny circulated during the height of the 1950s. It existed before the space race truly began, before the internet, before the modern digital world. It represents one of the final chapters of the original wheat cent series. Millions were made, but far fewer survive today in pristine, untouched condition. Most people see a 1956 penny and assume it's too modern to matter. But in coin collecting, condition separates common coins from valuable ones. Heavily worn 1956 penny may be worth only a few cents. A high-grade, full red, sharply struck example could be worth many times more. So, here's what you should do. Check the date, 1956. Confirm there is no mint mark. Examine Lincoln's hair for sharp detail. Inspect the wheat stalks for full lines. Look closely at the color, brown, red-brown, or red. Search for any unusual features or errors. And most importantly, leave it exactly as you found it. Because sometimes the coins people ignore the most are the ones that reward the careful eye. And the 1956 wheat penny proves that even a common coin can hold surprising value if it's in the right condition. Before you ignore that old penny sitting in a jar or hiding in your pocket change, take a closer look at the date. If it says 1958 and there is a small D mint mark under the date, you might be holding one of the final wheat pennies ever produced by the United States Mint. The 1958 D wheat penny represents the closing chapter of the famous Lincoln Wheat cent series that began in 1909. After 1958, the reverse design changed forever to the Lincoln Memorial. That means the 1958 D coin is part of the last generation of wheatback pennies, and that alone makes collectors pay attention. The front of the coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. His profile faces to the right, with the words "In God We Trust" above his head, Liberty on the left side, and the date 1958 on the right. Just below the date, you'll notice the small D mint mark, which tells you the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Flip the coin over and you'll see the classic wheat design. Two wheat stalks curving along the left and right edges of the coin with the words 1 cent in the center and United States of America above it. This iconic reverse design remained in use for nearly 50 years, making it one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. In 1958, the Denver Mint produced an enormous number of wheat pennies. More than 800 million 1958 D pennies were struck. Because of that massive mintage, the coin is generally considered common in circulated grades. Many examples spent years moving through the American economy during the late 1950s and 1960s. They were used to buy candy, newspapers, and everyday goods, and most of them show wear today from decades of handling. But here's where things become interesting for collectors. Even though the 1958 D penny was produced in huge numbers, the condition of the coin dramatically affects its value. Most examples you'll find today are worn, meaning the fine details of Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline have become smooth over time. The wheat stalks on the reverse may also appear flat, and the small lines inside the wheat grains may be difficult to see. However, when a coin survives with minimal wear or no wear at all, collectors become far more interested. Coins that never entered circulation are called mint state coins. These coins still show their original mint luster, which appears as a bright, reflective glow when the coin is tilted under light. The surfaces are sharper, and the details in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks remain crisp. Another factor that plays a huge role in the value of any wheat penny is color. Copper coins naturally change color as they age. Over time, exposure to air and moisture causes the metal to darken. Because of this, collectors classify copper coins into three categories based on their color: brown, red-brown, and red. Brown coins are the most common because they have darkened fully over time. Red-brown coins still retain some of their original mint color, but also show areas of toning. The most desirable coins are full red examples, which still display the bright orange-red color they had when they left the mint. A 1958 D penny that still has full red color and strong mint luster is much harder to find than a dark circulated example. Collectors who build high-grade coin sets often compete for these bright red coins, especially when they are certified in very high mint state grades. In those top grades, even a common date coin like the 1958 D wheat penny can command surprising prices compared to its 1 cent face value. Another thing collectors watch for is the quality of the strike. Not all coins were struck equally well. Some coins came off the press with sharper details than others. A strong strike will show deep lines in the wheat stalks, bold lettering, and clear separation in Lincoln's hair strands. Coins with weak strikes often have softer details and may appear slightly dull even if they are technically uncirculated. Beyond condition and color, collectors also search for mint errors and unusual varieties. While the 1958 D wheat penny does not have a widely known major double die variety like some earlier wheat cents, smaller mint errors still exist. Careful collectors often examine these coins under magnification to look for interesting mistakes made during the minting process. Possible errors include doubled letters in the inscriptions, die cracks that appear as raised lines across the coin, clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing, and off-center strikes where the design was not perfectly aligned during the strike. Even small mint errors can increase collector interest. Coins with unusual features sometimes sell for much higher prices because error collectors actively search for these rare minting mistakes. One important rule that every coin collector should remember is never clean your coins. Many people believe that polishing or cleaning a coin will increase its value because it makes the coin look shiny. In reality, cleaning removes the natural surface of the metal and often leaves tiny scratches that permanently damage the coin. Collectors strongly prefer coins with their original surfaces intact, even if those surfaces appear dark or toned. A naturally aged coin is almost always more valuable than a cleaned one. If you believe you have a particularly sharp or bright 1958 D wheat penny, it might be worth having it examined by a professional coin grading service. These services authenticate the coin and assign it an official grade based on its condition. Coins that receive high mint state grades can sometimes sell for significantly more than raw, ungraded examples. The historical context of a 1958 D wheat penny also adds to its appeal. This coin was produced during the late 1950s, a time when the United States was entering a new technological era. It was the final year of the wheat reverse design that had represented American coinage for almost half a century. The following year, in 1959, the reverse design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, marking a new chapter in U.S. coin history. Because of that change, the 1958 wheat pennies, including the Denver-minted 1958 D, became the last wheat pennies ever struck. For collectors, that makes them an important piece of the Lincoln cent timeline. So, the next time you see a penny dated 1958 with a small D mint mark, don't dismiss it immediately. Take a closer look at the condition, the color, and the details. Check Lincoln's hair for sharpness. Examine the wheat stalks on the reverse. Tilt the coin under light to see if the original luster is still present. Look for unusual markings that could indicate a mint error. Most of these coins are common, but occasionally a well-preserved example appears that stands out from the rest. And sometimes the coins people overlook the most turn out to be the ones collectors want the most. That's the fascinating world of coin collecting. Even a simple 1-cent coin can carry decades of history, unique variations, and surprising value. The 1958 Wheat penny may look like an ordinary piece of copper,